If you're a cafe looking to increase sales with a matcha latte, then your matcha to milk ratio is very important. This has to be dialed in very intentionally. You can look up online to look for different ratios. However, they all say the different things. And you don't really have time for endless experimentations either. So in this video, I'll walk you through a very straightforward matcha to milk ratio. However, what's more important is you understand how to make the adjustments. How to make the adjustments so it fits your milk, your matcha, and your sweetener type to make sure that your customers will enjoy your matcha latte the most. Hi, I'm Yuki, I'm the founder of Tea Life, and here we break down Japanese tea so you can become a Japanese tea expert. If you're a cafe owner looking to add matcha or improve your matcha offerings or any kind of Japanese tea offerings at your cafe, then I'm here to help. You can sign up to our free newsletter where you can stay updated to useful information like this video. And we also created a FAQ of 30 most common questions asked by customers, so you can download it from the link below as well. You can just pass it to your staff, and from the next day, your customer experience will increase. Before we dive into the matcha to milk ratio, there's two very important things that we have to decide. The first one is your matcha strategy. It's essentially, is it a weak matcha that you want to hide, or is it a good matcha that you want to complement? This depends on the type of matcha you're using and also the direction of the cafe, but this is really important, so you have to decide this first. Second, and this might be something that surprises you, but you actually have to decide the sweetness level of the matcha latte first. The reason is because by adding the sweetness level, the matcha really transforms. If you decide to add the matcha later, then all the parameters will change and your formulation will have to go through a reset. So by pegging the sweetness level of the matcha latte first, you can reduce a lot of the back and forth. For the sake of this experiment, we've already decided the two parameters already. The first one is the matcha. We'll be using the Sen matcha. This is an entry-level Usucha grade matcha. So it's suitable for drinking as is with water, but it has enough structure and strength to mix with milk as well. So this is a good matcha. So we want to, in terms of the matcha strategy, we want to try to complement with milk and sugar instead of erasing the weakness. So that's the direction we'll take with this matcha. And for the sweetness level, we'll be using this premium syrup from Red Band. We can find this easily locally if you're in Singapore, but for those of you who are not in Singapore, I'll read out the ingredients. It's relatively straightforward. Glucose, sugar, water, and preservatives. So that's what this is. We'll use this to sweeten our matcha latte. And the amount we're going to use for this is for every 150 milliliters of milk that we use, we'll use 20 milliliters of premium syrup. So that's going to be the formula. Now, what I tried to achieve with this balance of sweetness is a moderate kind of sweetness. So something that's not too strong, that's going to overwhelm the taste and erase the matcha, because that will happen if you make it too sweet. And then also it's not too weak that you can't really taste the sweetness. So that balance where it's you can feel the sweetness, but it's not overwhelming. It's a nice kind of sweetness. So that's what we tried to aim here. And of course, it's up to you. You can adjust up or down. If you adjust up, obviously you want to make sure, you want to be careful it doesn't overwhelm the matcha. And if you can adjust down, you can completely erase the sweetener as well. But one of the small hacks, if you will, that I do recommend sometimes is that the sweetness, even if it's a little bit of sweetness, so subtle that you can't really taste it, even if it's that amount, if you add the sweetener into the matcha, it actually makes a difference. It actually makes a difference in terms of it will reduce the harshness and the bitterness of the matcha a fair bit. Even if you can't taste the sweetness, it will have that effect on the matcha. And in many cases, the perception of the matcha quality will increase. So that's something to keep in mind. Now that we decided the sweetness level, that's a good reference point for you, we're going to run some experimentations. We will run 6 concurrent experimentations to test the milk to matcha ratio. How we'll do it is like this. So for each of these experiments, we'll use 50 milliliters of water, which is 1/3 the portion that I previously talked about. So previously I said for 150 milliliters of milk, I want to use 20 milliliters of premium sugar. So we're gonna slice that into 1/3 because I can't drink so many lattes. So we're gonna slice that to 1/3. We'll use 50 milliliters of milk and then 6 2/3 milliliters of premium syrup to make it sweet. So that's gonna be the portions. And on top of that, we're gonna experiment with different levels of matcha. So we do 1 gram of matcha, 1.5 grams of matcha, 2 grams of matcha, 2.5 grams of matcha, 3 grams of matcha, and 3.5 grams of matcha. So those are the levels of experiments we're going to conduct. And then after we taste each one, we'll note how the taste and the presence of the matcha, they will change as we increase the amount of matcha being used. Okay, so it took a while, although you won't be able to tell, it took a while, but I've created 6 different levels of matcha latte. I have all 6 of them right here. We'll see if this layout works. Well, I'm going to drink them one by one from level 1 to level 6, all the way up to level 6, and see which level is the best. Okay, so let's start with level 1. This is 1 gram of matcha. Milk forward. Some hints of matcha though. You can still taste some hints of matcha. Okay. Level 2. Here we go. This is 1.5 grams for 50 milliliters of water. I mean milk. Slightly stronger, but still milk forward. Yeah, still milk forward. Level 3. Level 3. This is 2 grams of matcha for 50 milliliters of water. Okay, there's a bit more matcha. From here, I might feel that this is almost like a matcha forward. From level 3 is matcha forward. You start to feel the matcha taste is distinctly stronger. I think you start to also pick up some of the structure of the matcha as well, not just the scent. It's starting to become less subtle and becoming the main thing. Level 4. Okay, so proper matcha at level 4. So this is 2.5 grams for 50 milliliters of milk. Yep, this is matcha certainly. Might be strong for some people. I like this, but so for some people this could be strong, and depending on the type of matcha, it could be strong as well. Yeah. So level 4 might be a bit strong. Definitely matcha forward. Let's try level 5. I like it. Matcha strong. The sweetness level feels less because the matcha is starting to become strong and you start to feel the stringency. I think I like this obviously because I love matcha, but some people, it might be too strong for some people. The stringency you start to properly feel. Okay, let's do level 6. Here's level 6. This is 3.5 grams of matcha. Yeah, okay, so from here, you start to really feel the harshness of the matcha. I wouldn't really recommend this one, although I would drink this. Level 3 or 4, I think, was a sweet spot. If you're a cafe that's more towards the light side, more casual, maybe, and depending on the matcha powder as well, you try level 3, which is 2 grams of matcha powder to 50 milliliters of water. And then if you want a little bit stronger, 2.5 grams of matcha, that's level 4, 2.5 grams of matcha to 50 milliliters of milk. So this decision really is going to depend on the cafe. Remember that the premise is that we want to use good quality matcha. We want to complement with milk and sugar and try to pull out the best of the matcha, right? So that's the premise. And then depending on the cafe, so you still want a matcha forward experience, but you might not want it too strong. So the balance, I think, based on this experiment, is between levels 3 and 4. And level 3 was again 2 grams of matcha for 50 milliliters of milk, and then level 4 was 2.5 grams of matcha for 50 milliliters of milk. So that would be a pretty good range. You can aim for that and try it with your matcha, with your sweetener, with your milk, and see how it goes. And again, from there, if it feels a little bit too harsh, if it feels a little bit too milk forward, then you know how to adjust. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you're a cafe owner or a restaurant owner looking to add matcha to your offering or maybe improve your matcha program, then we're here to help. Do sign up for our newsletter. We'll be sharing useful information like this video on a regular basis, so please make sure you do that. See you soon.